So today we're going to be learning about one-step equations. So the first problem I'm going to give y'all is going to be something that you will probably see in everyday life, and you probably won't even think that you're doing algebra. So say you went out to eat and your total is $15. And you know that you left a $5 tip, but you don't know how much your original bill was. How do you figure that out? So you know your total is 15. You left a $5 tip, and you do not know what the original was. So how do we figure that out? So how we are gonna figure that out is using inverse operations. So I'm gonna put a little bubble over here of some things you guys need to remember. Inverse operations. So inverse operations, what they do is they undo each other. Okay, so undo each other. So they are the opposite. So in this one, you have addition. What's the opposite of addition? It's going to be your inverse operation. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. Later on, we might do some ones that have multiplication or division. What is the opposite of multiplication? Division, right? And these go back and forth. So opposite of subtraction, addition, opposite of division, multiplication, okay? They go back and forth. They're the opposite of each other. So what do we have to do to figure this out, right? We're gonna use the inverse operation. So we're gonna subtract. Tricky thing is here is we have to do it from both sides of the equation. Think of your equation like a balance beam or a weight or a scale. So you have this scale that's two-sided, right? And you have 15 over here. To keep it equal, you need to have 15 over here, and it's gonna be straight, right? So you're gonna have to do the same thing on both sides to keep that weight equal, and balanced. So what we're gonna do is our inverse operation, which is subtraction. So we're gonna take x plus 5, inverse operation, take away 5, equals 15, take away 5. So let's do this math. 15 minus 5 is 10, right? 10. So 5 minus 5 is 0, right? So we're left with just x. So x equals 10. That's exactly what we wanted to happen, right? We wanted to get x alone on one side of the equation so we could figure out what our variable was. Let's plug it back in and make sure that we got the correct answer, okay? X, first part, 10 plus 5 equals 15. So that checks out, right? Let's do one more. Let's make it a little bit more complicated. Let's do a multiplication one. So let's do 3 times x equals 18. So the first thing we need to look at is our inverse operation. We have multiplication over here, right? So what do we need to do? Right? We need to do division. So we're going to take 3 times x divided by 3 equals 18 divided by 3. So inverse operations, what do? Undo each other. So this 3 times x divided by 3 is going to undo each other. So we're going to have x alone. Exactly what we want, right? 18 divided by 3. Does anybody know what that is? Yep, it's 6, right? 6. So we're gonna plug this back in and make sure that we followed our inverse operations and they have undone each other and the equation works. So 3, right? And when you have it right next to x, that's multiplication, right? So let's write it out and along with 3 times 6 equals 18. That's correct. Our inverse operation did not fail us, right? So let's try a subtraction one. And then I'm gonna give you guys one that maybe you can sit and try to do on your own on your notebook paper. I'll put it up here and then we'll go over it again. So let's do x minus 4 equals 12. So what are we gonna do here, everybody? Right? Inverse operation, subtraction. What's the inverse? It's addition, right? So we're gonna need to add 4 to both sides to keep that weight nice and balanced, all right? So x minus 4, inverse operation plus 4 equals 12 plus 4. So inverse operations, these are gonna undo each other. So we're gonna be left with x equals 12 plus 4. What is that, everybody? 16, right? So let's plug it back in. Let's see if we figured it out, and we will, every time you get one of these, plug the number back in. Double check yourselves. We can all make really easy small errors just because we're rushing, or who knows, because it's Monday. We all can make these errors. So let's plug it back in to make sure that we got it correct. So we're gonna put 16 where x is. 16 minus 4 equals 12. Does that work out to be right? Yeah, it does, right? So we did it. So I'm gonna write one up here on the board that I want you guys to see if you can figure it out on your own, okay? And then I'm gonna go over it with you. So we're gonna do an addition. X, whoop, marker's acting funky. X plus 7 equals 20. So I'm gonna give you a minute or two to figure out if you can do it. Remember though here, inverse operations, they undo each other, okay? So we have addition. What is our inverse operation for it? Keep it quiet this time because we're gonna see if we can figure it out on our own, okay? Okay, so what undoes it? Okay, so I'm gonna show you, and then everybody who got it right, I want you to raise your hand, and if you got it wrong, also raise your hand after and tell me what you did and what you learned from it, and how we're gonna do it different next time. Sometimes these can be a little tricky if we overthink them, but we just have to remember to keep our weight nice and balanced because we want it to be equal to each other. So we need to do the same thing on both sides, and our inverse operations undo each other. So this one, our inverse operation is gonna be subtraction. So we're gonna do x plus 7, inverse operation, minus 7 equals, keep it balanced, we gotta do it on both sides, right? 20 minus 7. Oops, sorry. You know, guys, I do that. My mom grew up in Germany and that's how they do it. And I always find myself still doing it sometimes. So sorry to confuse y'all. Ignore that, okay? So over here, what do? Inverse operations, they've undone each other. We only have x, right? Then we have 20 minus 7. What's that gonna be, guys? It's gonna be 13, right? Running out of room. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna double check ourselves, right? Because it might be a Monday, we might have fumbled the ball a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna double check ourselves so we know that we have it right before we turn it in. So we're gonna plug in x. X is 13 plus 7 equals 20. Does that work out for everybody? Is that correct? Right? So yes, 13 plus 7 is 20. 20 equals 20. Yep, that's correct, and we figured it out. If you guys have any questions, we can go over them. Next time we will try some that have division. They get a little bit trickier though, so we're gonna keep it a little more, a little less complicated today with just doing these basic ones, but tomorrow we'll move on to even a little bit more complicated, add some more. But remember to write these things down, right? This is your thing you wanna remember. Your inverse operations, these are gonna undo each other. But also write down, we've gotta do it to both sides, right? Sides of the equation to keep it balanced. That's very important because your equal sign, you want both sides to be balanced, okay? Very important. These two things are the things that you guys gotta bring with you tomorrow. And remember, so we can expand on this and go even further. Thanks, guys.